Since we ran late, she had to go somewhere else. So we just had a very productive lunch as we lay out the next few weeks. Negotiations for the year-long omnibus continue forward. Though we're working tirelessly, we need a bit more time beyond this week to get an omnibus done, avoid a needless shutdown. That said, the Senate should be prepared to pass a one-week CR this week and give negotiators more time to finish up.
Now, this is a great idea, folks, and it will help people out with stimulus checks. So I definitely believe that it's going to be great if Joe Biden can get this out. We have interviews with the fourth stimulus check, Social Security Benefits, SSI, and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on this. Much relief is here, and the lawmakers in the House and the Senate are ready to close in on a deal that's going to give you stimulus checks every single month. It will help those of you on SSI and Social Security. It will help those of you on low income, and even if you're not in need of a stimulus check, this bill will help you out still. So Kevin McCarthy is accelerating the long-stalled push for a unified House GOP strategy in Washington's high-stakes debt ceiling stand. His opening offer on a debt limit is riddled with potential political pitfalls, including an expiration date that would tee up another high-stakes fiscal fight just before the presidential election. Kevin McCarthy plans to present a menu of debt limit options in person when Congress returns. This includes several types of massive spending cuts, stricter rules for the government's social programs, and new energy policies. The House GOP has a limited time to come together with only 4 votes to spare, as it eyes a vote by late May. The party's list of potential demands, which also includes an across-the-board cut to discretionary spending and strict work requirements like food stamps, is likely to change as the House Republicans hash out a former bill in the coming weeks. They are also proposing to raise the debt limit for just 1 year, triggering another battle over the federal purse in the middle of the presidential primaries. This includes 2 months of discussion with 6 to 10 lawmakers at a time. The stakes couldn't be higher for Kevin McCarthy. This Republican must avoid a misstep that would weaken his speakership, which any single frustrated member could voice a vote to terminate. And unlike other GOP items, which satisfy the party base, there are slim chances of any becoming law. Any debt ceiling limit is disliked by the Republican Party. Now, the New Mexico governor has recently announced a bill that the state will be sending out the newest round of $500 rebates in mid-June. The state taxation and revenue department will send rebates of $500 to single filers and $1,000 to married people. This is for heads of households. Any New Mexico resident who filed a 2021 New Mexico personal income tax return and is not declared as dependent under the person's taxpayer refund will receive the rebates automatically. It's also important to remember that there is no application to receive rebates. The governor told reporters today that there are prices for basic necessities continuing to be high across the nation, and our state is in a fantastic financial position, and it's important to me that New Mexico's families are sharing in that success. Taxpayers who received a refund by direct deposit on their return will receive the rebate by direct deposit as well. All others will get a check in the mail, and direct deposits will be mailed and distributed first, and checks will be mailed over the following weeks. Now, eligible New Mexico residents have until next year to get this money. So, everybody, don't waste time and get the stimulus check that you need.
Hundreds of thousands of families in North Carolina could get another check from the state. North Carolina is receiving about $5.7 billion from the latest stimulus package. Governor Cooper wants to use that money for another round of extra credit grants. Last year, those checks went to families with kids to help with the cost of remote learning and homeschooling. The difference this time is they're using income limits.
We decided we would propose an income limit because
we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security Benefits, SSI and SSDI. Continue watching this video because you don't want to miss out on this. There's a ton of news that we have to cover, so continue watching. Folks, more direct payments are arriving for millions of people, and it has been confirmed that states will continue to send out stimulus and tax refunds until the end of 2024. So you may be able to claim a fourth stimulus check before New Year's of 2023. This year has already been filled by rapid increase in inflation, with citizens and especially those from low-income households struggling financially in the face of a cost of living crisis. Following the 2 crisis years, the economy was hit hard with several supply chain shortages and ultimately drove up the price of everyday items, including groceries. Compounding these shortages were the sanctions imposed on oil imports. In June this year, the average price of a gallon of gas in America almost hit $5, with the Federal Reserve ultimately choosing to increase rates again in order to curb the rapid rise in inflation. Despite these measures, several residents still continue to struggle with these increased costs. To help ease the financial burden on its residents, several states have implemented the use of tax rebates and stimulus checks to help those from middle and low-income households navigate these tough times. So as the year draws to a close, several states are continuing to push out more stimulus into the pockets of Americans. Now, the state of California next wave of residential stimulus payments offset the nation's rising inflation rates. It will reportedly arrive at the end of December, and the $1,000 checks are being distributed as part of the middle class tax refund, in which $9.5 billion will be earmarked for state residents. Payments will arrive either through direct deposit or a prepaid debit card, and residents are being told to expect a few weeks of delivery. So the most recent middle-class tax refund payments were doled out in October, and according to reports, a large number of California residents have yet to receive the fall payments via direct deposit or prepaid cards. California's system plans on paying residents whose last name begins with letters N through V by December 31st. So, all of their outstanding payments are slated for a January delivery date, and the California residents who became eligible for the class tax refund were required to file their taxes by a deadline of October. So payments amount will vary depending on marital status and your annual income. From February to October, America's inflation rate has been 7.7%. That's a peak of 9.1% back in June. For comparison, the inflation rate was only 4% and 1% during the former president's presidency. And according to the Washington Examiner, married couples filing jointly can be paid anywhere from $400 to $1,000, while heads of households can receive anywhere from $200 to $700. It all depends on your income and the number of dependents you have. Last week, news sources reported that California officials were bracing for a projected $25 billion deficit in the next fiscal year as a result of declining tax revenues. The nonpartisan California Legislative Analyst Office issued a report recommending state lawmakers cut spending when they receive and reconvene in January. The report also suggested holding back some already budgeted funding in order to avoid the shortfall. The average cost of gas in the country had also dropped below the price a year ago, the first time that has happened in nearly 2 years. And the average price for regular gas stood at $3 a gallon on December 8th, compared with an average of $3.34 on the same day in 2021. The last time gas dipped below its pre-crisis years was on February 4th, when drivers are paying $2.44 a gallon, compared with $2.50 a gallon on the same date in 2020. Fuel prices have also plunged over the last several weeks amid slowing consumer demand across the globe, providing relief to Americans that are well up this year by the highest inflation they've ever seen. Fuel prices again, everybody, and is causing the Fed lawmakers to actually be pushing interest rates aggressively this year just to bring down inflation. A series of increases has brought the central bank's benchmark rate by 3.75 percentage points, with markets expecting additional hikes into the early part of next year.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.